Welcome back, folk. Just before the ad break, remember what we were doing? We were looking at different ways of representing data. And we came to a conclusion that we could take some data and we could represent it in the form of a pie chart or a bar chart. We could even take it and put it in the form of a stem and leaf method or even a histogram. So how do we know which is best? Let's have a look here. Analyzing data for a suitable representation, we've got to draw the following conclusion. Depending on the type of questions we want to answer about the data, will determine what type of chart we would like to draw. Okay? But remember what I said? Normally your teacher in a test or an exam will say, draw a pie chart to represent this, or draw a bar chart, or draw a histogram. Now, let's go on, and what we're now going to do is we're going to look at answering questions from data interpretations. Let's have a look at our first question. So, a store sold packets of chips and collected the following data. Let's have a look at that. So, what's actually happened now is someone owns a shop, and in the shop they're selling different packets of chips. Now it could be a shop, it could even be your tuck shop at school. And they're saying, we got tomato sauce chips, salt and vinegar chips, we've got fruits and chutney chips, and we've got the good old plain chips. Those are the 4 flavors we're selling, and let's see how well they sell. And so what they do is someone stands behind and says, there's a tomato sauce sold. Cool. He's buying a plain chips. He's buying a salt and vinegar. He's buying a fruit and chutney. And so they add it up over a period of time. And these are the results they get. Let's have a look at it. Tomato sauce, they realize that they've sold just lower than 250, maybe 245. Let's pretend that's 245 packets of chips. Okay. The salt and vinegar, they've sold round about 120 odd. Fruits and chutney, 400. How many plain chips are sold? Can you decide that? Round about 320. It's not quite halfway, because halfway would be 25. So it's not quite halfway. So I'm going to say around about 320 packets of plain chips. Okay. Do you see how they've represented it? Do you see they've represented it as separate bars? Why? Because you can't get tomato and vinegar. No such thing. It's tomato sauce chips, salt and vinegar chips, fruit chutney chips, or plain chips. You never go into a shop and open up a tomato sauce packet of chips and get 1 tomato sauce, 1 salt and vinegar, 1 fruit and chutney, and 1 plain chip. That just doesn't work like that. Okay? They individually packed. Fruit and chutney chips are separate to tomato chips. Okay. Now that we've analyzed this, let's look at the type of questions they're going to ask us, forcing us to interpret the graph. And that's just one thing I want to say to you now. In a test or in an exam, you could be asked to draw a bar chart, or they could give you a bar chart and ask you information about it. So you could be given information, now draw the chart, or we could give you a chart and ask you about the information. And in this case, you're given the chart, so they're going to ask us something about the information. Let's have a look. First question. Which flavor was most popular? Well, looking at that, guys, this is not even difficult. Obviously, it's our fruit and chutney. The next question, which flavor was least popular? Again, guys, this is such an insult to our intelligence. You can see it straight away. Salt and vinegar was the least. Now, how many units of the plain flavor were sold? We've done that, haven't we? 320. Next question. How many units were sold altogether? Now what are we going to do? We're going to have to add all these up, aren't we? So we're going to take our calculator and we're going to say, right, of the plain, we had 320. Fruit and chutney, we've got 400. Salt and vinegar, we got 120. And finally, our tomato sauce, we got 245. So how many chips were sold that day? Equals 1,085. So we had 1,085 packets of chips were sold. Next question. What was the difference in units sold between the most popular and the least popular? Well, this is also easy, isn't it? Because we know our most popular were 400. So let's do that. We're going to say, right, we've got 400 packets of chips, which was most popular. We are going to subtract the least popular, which was salt and vinegar, of 120. What's my difference? 280. So we've got 280 was the difference. Next question. If the store owner makes 50 cents profit on a packet of chips, how much did he make in profit from the sales given in the set of data? So we know our store guy is making 50 cents for every packet of chips that he sells. How many packets of chips did he sell? Don't you remember we added them up? What did we get? We wrote our answer over here, 1,085. So we're going to say, right, 1,085 chips, packet of chips were sold, and he made 50 cents on each one. So we're going to say, cool, we got 1,085, multiplying it by 0.5. Why 0.5? Because it's 50 cents. And in rands, it's R 0,5. Got it. Equals, and my answer is going to be 542 Rand 50 cents. So it's 542 Rand 50 cents. So, it's not bad, eh? Nice way to make money. You should try it. Go out, buy some chips and sell it to your buddies and make 50 cents profit. Next one. Based on this data, what would you recommend to the store owner when he restocks the store with chips? So if you were the guy working in the shop and you said to him, right, we need more chips. But I tell you what, pal, don't go and buy salt and vinegar. We're not selling many of them. We only sold 120. And he said, well, which one should we sell? Which one should we buy more of and stock more of? You know what? If I were you, I'd buy lots of fruit and chutney. Why? Because we're selling so many of them. Just look at this on the graph. And he's going to say, geez, that's impressive. What else should we buy? Well, I'd also buy some plain chips because we sold 320 of them. I would buy a few less tomato sauce. And you know what? Salt and vinegar, I wouldn't buy very many because we're only selling 120. Can you see how this is being used to take our data, interpret it, and use it? Okay? Because imagine if we did all this research and we came up to a conclusion and the shop owner came and said, right, I'm going to buy chips. What should I buy? And you say, buy everything. Okay? Absolutely everything. We are just selling chips like you can't believe. We sold 1,085 packets just yesterday alone. You just go buy chips. Well, that's not really true, hey? Okay? Why? Because salt and vinegar didn't sell as well as our fruit and chutney. So we had to take our data and interpret it correctly. Let's have a look at our next question. So, given the following pie chart for car sales in the month of May, answer the questions that follow. So here now we've got a pie chart. You can see it's a pie chart because it's round. And so that symbolizes a pie chart. Look at our key. This thing over here is our key. Our blue color shows us how many Toyota cars were sold. And there are quite a few of them, aren't there? The red shows us the Mitsubishi. The green, the Ford, how many Fords were sold. There it is there. Our VW is purple, and there's all our purple coloring there. So you can see what that's symbolizing. And from that, without even looking at some questions, we can say the following. The car that's sold the most, or the most popular car sold in the month of May was our Toyota. Okay? Our least popular was our Ford. Okay. Now, for the sake of our sponsors, let me tell you, this is not all true, all right? But we're just using this as an example. So we don't want to be sued by Ford or VW or Mitsubishi, okay? That's not true. We just made this up. Cool. Let's move on. Now, let's answer the questions which follow. Which brand sold the most units? Well, in this example, we can see it was Toyota. Why? Well, gee, look at all that blue color there. Next question. Which two brands sold similar amounts during the month? Okay, well, let's have a look at it. Look at this red and look at this purple. They're pretty close, aren't they? Okay, if I took that purple and I shifted it down on the red, okay, I'm going to say, well, that's almost the same as the amount of red that was sold. So which two are similar? I would say the red and the purple, the red representing the Mitsubishi and the purple representing VW. Next one. Estimate the angle for the sector of the Toyota brand. And that is important, okay? We have got to say how big, let's get rid of all this, and I'm going to use a different color altogether. Let's go with our green. How big is this angle from there all the way down to there? So from that point to that point here. How big is that angle? Sure. Now, guys, you know that a whole circle is 360 degrees. What's half a circle? It's going to be half of 360, which is 180 degrees. What's a quarter circle? Well, it's going to be quarter of 360, or half of 180, which is going to be 90 degrees. So if I were to draw this in, I would say over here, let's draw this line over here, that is going to be 90 degrees. This over here is 180 degrees. Now, where's this line over here? I would say this line is halfway between 90 and 180. What's halfway between 90 and 180? It's going to be round about, what should we say, 120 degrees? Okay. Or 130 degrees maybe. So you could say, look, that's 120 or 130 degrees. And I would give you the marks for that, because you are showing, hey, I know it's between 90 and 180 degrees there. Okay? Or you could even say it's 125 degrees. I know it's close to that 120, 130 mark. And the question did say estimate, and that's what you're actually doing. If it said to you exactly what is the angle, we'd have to give an accurate answer. But from this information, we wouldn't be able to do that. So we've only been able to estimate our answer. Right. Now it says express the VW sales as a percentage of the total sales. Let's have a look at this now. So VW, we want to represent it as a percentage of the total sales. What do you think this is? I think this is 90 degrees over here. So all this represents 90 degrees. 90 degrees of the total circle. What is the total circle? The total circle is 360 degrees. Now, what is 90 over 360 times 100? Because I want it as a percentage. So we're going to say times 100. Let's take out our calculator and let's do this. We've got 90 over 360, okay, multiplied by 100. And that's going to give me 25%. So we have 25%. Okay. I want to do that on my calculator again, because some of us might be using a calculator that doesn't have the fraction button. So what does 90 over 360 mean? Let me show you on the calculator. 90 over 360 could be done as 90 divided by 360. And then we times by 100, and look, we're going to get the exact same answer, 25. So my answer then is 25%. Okay, I think that's all the answers there. Right, done it. Next one. So from this graph, we have another question. If there were 25,000 units sold altogether, calculate the number of Toyotas sold in that month. Now, do you remember the Toyota? We said that this angle over here was round about 120, 130. I'll tell you what, let's make it 125 degrees. So if it's 125 degrees, of the full amount, which was 360 degrees, and we multiplied that by the 25,000 cars, then we will know how many Toyotas were sold. So we are going to say, okay, so we've got 125 divided by 360, multiply that by 25,000 cars sold, okay, equals, and our answer is 8,680,555. Guys, I'm not going to have a comma 555 because hopefully when I go and buy a car, no salesman sells me comma 555 of a car. Then I've got huge problems. So I'm going to round it off to the nearest whole number and say my answer is going to be 8,681. So 8,681 cars were sold. If the number of Toyotas doubled in sales, how would that affect the number of cars sold in the other categories? Well, it wouldn't affect them, would it? Because we've still sold so many VWs, so many Mitsubishis, so many Fords. But my amount of Toyotas sold has doubled. Now, how would that affect my pie chart? Well, that's going to affect it greatly, isn't it? Because now, instead of selling 25,000 cars, I've sold more than 25,000 because my sales in Toyota doubled. So of the 25,000, I'm going to add 8,681 and say, you know what, I've actually sold 33,681 cars. Now, instead of making my pie chart out of 25,000 cars, it's now out of 33,681. So my section for my Toyota is going to increase. My section for VW is going to decrease a bit. For Ford is going to decrease. For Mitsubishi is going to decrease a little bit. All right? So we're just interpreting that data as we've posed different possibilities. Okay, so how would it affect the number of cars sold? We're going to have sold an extra 8,000 cars. How does it affect the pie chart? Well, for the pie chart, the Toyota section is going to get bigger and the others are going to get a little bit smaller. All right. Guys, we've covered a lot of work today, hey? We really have, and I'm really proud of you for staying tuned in for so long. But the time has come for us to end this. I trust you've learned a lot. I know I have. And I've had great fun presenting it. And hopefully you've had great fun watching it. Okay. Remember, stay tuned. We've got a number of series still to go on this whole wonderful section of mathematical literacy for grade 10. We'll be meeting soon, I'm sure, in the near future. Until then, cheers. And remember, enjoy school. Cheers.